Welcome welcome friends to the newest edition of Seahawkers What If, the most unique Seahawks preview show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Adam Emmert, and the protector of this multiverse, Mr. Phil Leidick. Boys, we're recording this the day before Thanksgiving, so by the time the flockers are watching this, they're probably stuffed full of all the good fixes, the gravy, everything else. And I think this is yet another opportunity for our Seahawks to feast on what's going to be a very inexperienced quarterback. Adam, first and foremost, welcome home. Hope everything went swimmingly on your trip home from Nashville and that you're ready for some more Seahawks cornucopia.
Oh, I can't wait for some more cornucopia of Seahawks. And I beat you home, so eat it. Also, it's going to be an interesting week coming up here against this Vikings team. Maybe a little different matchup than we were thinking when we all went through the schedule at the beginning of the year and we're doing the win-loss game, Phil. I don't know, going into this game on this wonderful Thanksgiving weekend, how you feeling about it?
I'm feeling pretty good. A lot of things have shifted for us through the course of the season because of our team and because of other teams. Certainly this one is one that didn't go the direction their team and their fans were hoping when they let Sam go and moved JJ into the starting lineup. And now we don't even have JJ. So this is a mystery game for me, guys. It's kind of a mystery game.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. The biggest headline and something to just, at least put out on the table for folks that maybe don't know yet, because it is a busy holiday week and all, is that JJ McCarthy is officially out. They've got Max Brosmer in. He played a lot of college football. He played 5 years of college football. And as we discuss it, Adam, you had some firsthand experience with the bro. And I think that's going to be really interesting for folks to hear as well. Phil, before we maybe dive into that, do you have questions about Brosmer, or should we kind of hit it at the top since Adam did have that one-on-one time?
Well, it's one of the questions. So we'll definitely get to Mr. Brosmer during the what if section. So then we'll get to hear all from Adam, what he's all prepped to do, as Adam likes to be prepped for these questions.
Oh, absolutely. I'm Captain Prep. But, the one thing, just looking at this here with the screen here and his picture up here for all of you audio listeners, just in case, you're wondering what the Brosmer looks like. He looks like a 12-year-old V for Vendetta. He looks like the guy that, is in charge of the Jungle Juice at a frat party. He looks like he is like Paxton Lynch, which is the scariest part. He's got Paxton Lynch facial hair. Not a great start for him.
I don't know what's going on with his hair. It looks like he got a haircut after we took the picture of him, or he has white and brown hair. So that's the two things I know about Brosmer.
No, he just stands in the snow because he's in Minnesota.
Okay. Yes, you have no choice there. Yeah, but the that whatever that is, that like that 1930s villain look, where he has that little bit of a, I don't know, like some sort of like devilish little goatee going.
He looks like he has a propensity to tie women to railroad tracks. There's his,
in silent films. There you go. You nailed it. He's a silent film star. Yeah.
I was thinking he looks like the guy that's in the guy group that only makes crank remarks every once in a while. He's just back there kind of staring on. And then whenever he says something, it's just a jerk thing to say. And then he goes back to letting people kind of carry the.
Yeah. People from Phoenix are called Phoenicians. Like something like that.
He has a bit of a jerk face to him. So, hey, Brosmer, we don't know you well, and we don't really care.
He's probably a wonderful man.
He might be a wonderful human who's worked really hard to get this point in his life, seeing as he did 4 years at New Hampshire and then his 5th year at Minnesota and played some pretty good football, enough that he could be picked up by Minnesota. And all of a sudden, he's starting an NFL football game. So good on him, because I'm sure it's a dream come true. But I'm also into crushing that dream and bringing him back to a harsh reality with his first game. So, Phil, I know we don't have a previously with the protector, and that's okay. But I know you still came up with a custom theme with 6 big questions. So lay it on us, brother.
Well, every year we have to talk Thanksgiving. It's the best holiday in the world. Why not be thankful? There's many things to be thankful, but we're going to talk about some Thanksgiving meals and say, what if we're thankful? I want to try something, and it may flop big time, gentlemen, and Clinton will go first. I have the top 6 most common things at an American Thanksgiving feast. And instead of listing them, And instead of these having anything to do with the question, really, there's just a question hid behind one of these food items, and you are going to guess one. And whatever food item you say, I'm assuming you might get it right, and there is a question. The loser will be the first guy to not get one of the top 6 food items at the Thanksgiving feast. And they only lose in the fact that I said, haha, you didn't know what one of the top 6 were on the board. So it's a little bit of Family Feud. Maybe you get 3 X's. I'll just play this as we go. A little bit of Family Feud, a little bit of What If, a little bit of Thanksgiving. Help to get you hungry for tomorrow. Clinton, you're first. Top 6 items are on the board at your Thanksgiving meal. Where are we going to go?
Well, boys, I have to admit, coming out of Nashville, heading to Sarasota, it's been a bit of a party. A couple of days in a row, just kept on partying. So I'm a little foggy, perhaps a little groggy. So I am not going to stare a free square in the face and not take it. So I'm just going to say turkey because it's got to be on board.
He gets turkey. Turkey is on the board, of course. And amazingly, turkey takes us right to what we tipped off at the top. The wonderful, lovable Mr. Brosman is what this question's all about. Does quarterback concern you? We have a quarterback who hasn't done the NFLing thing. They go from JJ. Has this offense, have the offensive problems really just been number 9 showing up? Or are there other problems? Clint, what do you have to say about Brosman, the offense as being a quarterback problem? Will he fix it, or is it going to be more of the same? What do we know?
Yeah, so there's a big scene missing, and I'll leave the meat on the bones for Adam, who actually saw Brosmer live and in person at the Shrine Bowl.
Brosmer. Sorry, I've been calling him Brosman because it sounds.
No, I love that you're using the derogatory term that I use for Bozeman here in Montana, Brosman, because it's just full of dudes. So yeah, I love it.
I like it. I like it. So I'll leave that part in because again, Adam, you've seen him. So is there danger? Yes, because this is we don't know him, right? And there's not tape out there besides a little bit of preseason tape, and then of course college tape. So it's with McCarthy, at least you've got weeks and weeks of understanding where he's been successful, where has he been mainly very erratic and not on time. Now, with all that, there's all this talent around him, right? They have Justin Jefferson, they got Addison, they got Naylor. They're not really distributing the ball. They're not getting the ball, or at least McCarthy was not getting the ball to his wideouts. But a lot of times that I ended up watching some Minnesota games, to me, it was like McCarthy was just under a lot of duress. And maybe he was late also. Maybe that's the combination of being late. But man, you got Darrisaw, who might be out. Donovan Jackson's injured, might be out. Their big acquisition, Will Fries, I don't think has been a great addition to the line. So I think the line's underperforming as well. So I'll leave the other stuff that's more Brosmer centered for Adam. I am a little nervous because we just don't know anything. But I think the biggest reason they've been unsuccessful is because the line's been very underwhelming. And I'm not sure swapping quarterbacks is going to change that all that much, Phil.
Adam Brosmer.
The Brosmer. Yeah, interesting dude, interesting story. Undrafted free agent, has a nice preseason that really does get a lot of Vikings fans fired up, just like they were after the one preseason game that JJ McCarthy played in. So we see how much that translated for JJ so far this year. But it's interesting because I think from the outside looking into a lot of teams that are in struggle mode, it's easy just to kind of look at position groups and be like, they don't perform well, or they don't perform well, and that sort of thing. Whereas listening to a fair amount of Vikings scuttlebutt here for the last few weeks, because it has kind of like seeped into a couple of the shows that I listen to, the number one problem here is not the quarterback, and it's not the offensive line. It's not even their running backs. Their number one problem goes by 3 initials, and it's KOC. Look, the problem this year for this team has been that he must have spent the summer with Ryan Grubb, because he's caught Grubb's disease and he can't run the football for nothing. Like, he just refuses to do it. They're one of the lowest teams in terms of running the football. And I think they might be the lowest when it comes to running it on 3rd and 4th and short. And they're throwing a lot of passes. And we all saw the domino effect that has on an entire offense. We saw that last year, because You throw the ball all the time. Well, then the defenders don't have to respect the run, which means they're just pinning their ears back and they're rushing the passer, which means it puts even a good offensive line in a bad spot. They've gone through some injuries as well up front. And then since you don't run the ball, you got to, as Salk always says, and stole from me, I'm pretty sure, is you got to run the ball to get good at running the ball. So now your running game suffers. You refuse to use Jordan Mason in the run game and actually, use that bruising style back who I think at this point in his career is better than Aaron Jones, who's been banged up a lot this year. And so I don't care if it was Max Brosmer, JJ McCarthy, prime Tom Brady. Look, you're going to struggle when your offense is structured this way, and the whole team is going to struggle. And so as far as, am I concerned about Brosmer coming into this game? No. No. The play calling hasn't been helping these guys out unless KOC changes a bunch in just this game. The play calling doesn't help them out. Also, we're talking about an undrafted free agent coming in and making his first start against the MOB. Good effing luck, buddy. Like, that is such a difficult task, especially when your play caller isn't helping you out. Now, in terms of him as a talent and a prospect coming out, Brandon and I went down to Shrine Bowl in Texas, and we got to watch him live and in person for 4 days down there and practice and in scrimmage and then again in the game. And look, I enjoyed Cam Miller's game the most down there. He was a North Dakota State kid, just good legs on time. And that's kind of what you're looking for first. Brosmer can do some of those things. I felt like his throwing motion was, I don't dislike it, but it's a little elongated and it takes him a minute to kind of get the ball out. It's not crazy long. It's not Tebow long. Like, we're not talking anything crazy. He can use his legs. The accuracy and the decision-making was erratic, to be honest, and kind of all over the map. So I know a lot of Vikings fans are super fired up to see him. They've been calling for him for weeks because they're just so fed up with JJ, which is misplaced anger, in my opinion.
Maybe it's his number 9 stuff.
For me.
Sure. I mean, who gives a crap? Just talk about what's on the field, right? People get so wrapped up in all that stuff. Look, you need to give JJ McCarthy 2-3 years. Have we not learned anything in the last couple of years regarding quarterback development with all of the retreads coming back, even Sam Darnold? So Brosmer, interesting prospect. It's exciting for Minnesota folks because he did go to the University of Minnesota. He is a Gopher. And now he's playing for the pro team, and I'm rooting for 12-year-old V. I am. It's gonna be interesting, but really tough place to start your career.
Yeah, they're the 25th team by DVOA, but that's really anchored by their offense, which is 29th overall. So I was curious what you thought about that. Lots of great answers there, Adam. Adam, the top answer by like every website I checked for the 6 must-have ingredients at your Thanksgiving feast is gone. There are 5 more. Where are we going to go next, Adam?
Well, I don't know if you guys listened to Coach Mike's coaching show this week, but they were asking about different Thanksgiving things. And look, I already loved Coach Mike, but I love him even more now because when he started going through things, I was like, yes, like in the order in which it should happen. First thing that he brought up was stuffing, not dressing, stuffing. We're going stuffing.
I was afraid you were going to say what your favorite was or something like that, which isn't what we're doing. We're doing America's must-haves, and stuffing is number 2. You guys are going right in order so far. Number 2 is stuffing, and I agree. It's just hard for me to find good gluten-free stuffing so I don't end up in the hospital, but it's almost worth it to get really sick and eat stuffing. But but the hospital sometimes happens, so not quite. Adam, Vikings are 23rd in yards per attempt on the ground. They're bad overall, but their yards per attempt is especially not great. What if the Hawks stuff their run game like we expect? Like, the odds of them running well against us are maybe some of the lowest odds one could possibly imagine about a game. How can they try? This kind of moves off of what you just talked about. What things might they be able to do to potentially score any points against us? Because we know they can't run the ball.
Yeah, the running of the football is going to be difficult for them, even though I do like Jordan Mason a lot. And I think I think that they should give us a heavy dose of that, but I just don't think it matters at this point in the season, especially when you've got a rookie undrafted free agent quarterback trotting out there. The team's going to focus on making sure that you are not able to run the ball and make life easier for that young buck. I think in terms of the offense being able to score with any sort of consistency, I just don't think that it's plausible for them. And which is wild to say when you think about Justin Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson and the weapons that they have. But also, too, when you think of Tariq Woolen and you think about Spoon and you think about Eamon Wari out there, you're like, wait a second, these are great weapons, no doubt. But it's going to be difficult throwing the football into tight windows, and you're asking a guy with first game jitters to go out there and get it done. I don't know, man. I think it's going to take like a rando tipped ball that falls into JJ's arms and he's able to run it in for a touchdown, something like that. I think it's going to be, scores are going to be a little more fluky for the Vikings than I think consistent. I just don't know that I love any of the matchups for their offense against this defense going into this game.
Clinton, how about you? Is there a way they can score against us at all concerned? Possible way of scoring?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, there's always ways. I think centering around some of our injuries and, will EJ play? We don't know yet. We're recording this on Wednesday. Ty Okada's out. Looks like Quandre Diggs. I'm not sure if that's official just yet. Maybe you guys know for sure, but looks like Quandre Diggs is coming back in the building.
Said he got number 37, so that sounds pretty
dope.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
But it's practice squad setting.
Okay, yeah,
I don't know. He'll be elevated first week, probably.
Yeah, but we shall see, I suppose, right? Interesting that it takes Sean Alexander's number.
Well, it's his original. It was his first number with us, and then he got 6 when they said you could have single digits, and of course now
he's back to 3-7. Cool. So hopefully maybe we do see him, or just we see how healthy we are with safeties. So all that being said, it's like, okay, well, what's exploitable? Well, we saw a little bit of that last week where Cam was successful. Now is mainly scrambling plays and squiggle plays where he got successful. Wasn't on platform stuff. It wasn't one's covered, two's covered. Let me go to Gunnar Helm. It was scribble, throw a ball like a grenade across my body and a dude's open. That's not exactly replicable, but the elements maybe are there. So they still have Hawkinson, who's has not been the same since a couple of catastrophic injuries. He just lost a step. It's unfortunate, but he's still a quality tight end. And then, I think Addison's still, JJ is JJ, but I don't know, like getting over the top on our defense. It's not exactly what our defense allows, like basically ever. The Tampa Bay game was the only time that really happened. And that was when Nehemiah Pritchett came in and he got exposed very quickly. And Pritchett's played better since that first game. So, if you got Spoon and Woolen and some of the semblance of safeties out there, like Kobe Bryant at least, I don't think you're getting over the top like JJ did last year. So the horizontal game with Addison could be effective. With all that being said, we're a very difficult team to try to do the horizontal, surge against, guys, because we're really fast. And we have players like Nicky Minwari and Spoon who can man up, shed a wide receiver, and then crash down and make a tackle against any of the bubble stuff. I find it difficult to see where the Vikings will have success. Back to Adam's original point, which is a good one. I did quickly look up. Jones is averaging 4.9 yards per carry this year. Mason's averaging 4.6 yards per carry this year. So maybe the danger is they go, we have a brand new quarterback. We're going to purposely run the ball 35 times. And that becomes a little bit more difficult for us than them trying to huck it all over the field. So long-winded way of saying tough slang. Those are some ways in which I think they could move the ball a bit, Phil.
Yeah, and then Kobe's got beat over the top. What I heard was like once.
Well, I think so, right?
All season, maybe once Kobe's got beat over the top. Pretty awesome. I mean, that's top level stuff for sure. Call outs there. Okay, the top 2 answers are gone, Clinton. Now we got to get into some of the more interesting ones. Where are you going to try to go next and not get your first X?
Well, I'm hopeful that this is on the board and that it's like counted and not just like discounted.
Yeah.
And I also know it's your favorite part of Thanksgiving. That's the gravy with the gravy.
The gravy is the ultimate. I wouldn't even do a list if they don't have gravy included. Yes, gravy is number 3. Now, it's the most important thing. Thanksgiving is ruined without it. but there were a few lists that included it with the turkey. And I said, I'm not even using a list like that. So let's get to this next question, Clinton. What if the Hawks can get our run game going versus this team that is 24th against the run on total yardage? But they're 12th. Here's the thing. They're 12th on yards per rush. So my guess from the season is teams are getting ahead and then just running a lot on them. Even though, so that to be 12th in yards per rush and yet have the 24th as far as worst against the run. Do you think we can get our run going with those things said, Clinton?
Short answer is yes, right? And we've been seeing it beginning to just look better and better week after week. And, the Titans, the best part of their team is probably the interior. And we saw quite a number of nice runs that were either in between tackles or stretch plays to the outside for both.
Their discipline is pretty bad.
Correct. Right. Yeah, I agree. And, Grenard may or may not play. He's injured as of, again, we're recording it Wednesday, so he might not be playing. And also the way in which the Vikings, I think the biggest thing is the way in which the Vikings were super successful last year. And they were, again, 14-3. And we know all about the Sam Darnold arc, but a huge part of that was they blitz the crap out of teams. They're super aggressive and they turned teams over last year. Well, this year they're being much less successful with turning teams over, with getting turnovers. And that players like Van Ginkel, who were darlings of the NFL last year, well, they're just not making those big splashy plays that are super high variance, whether those are sacks or turnovers, which have much more variance than things like TFLs and just being good against the run. All that being said, it's a, you got big names like Blake Cashman and you got Van Ginkel and you got Isaiah Rodgers, who's, had a ton of turnovers, caused a ton of turnovers this year as well. But I think the team can be had. So what I'd like to see from us is, you said the word earlier, a super disciplined game where we just, one of those cushy games, Adam, where you look back and Sam threw the ball 24 times, 25 times, and that's all he needed to do, because between Sharps and K9, you ran the ball 30 times. Why not do that this game? I feel it's very, very gettable, guys.
Good. How about you, Adam? Similar thoughts, it looks like.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree with Clinton more regarding what the game plan ought to be, right? Keep Sam in that sweet spot of the 23 to 28 pass attempts, somewhere in there. I think it'd be a mistake to kind of fall into the trap of, Sam to go out there and you're wanting him to throw 3 touchdowns, really rub it in the nose of the Vikings for not keeping him. Because I'm eliminating the words revenge game out of my lexicon, because it's just overused these days. Like, if a guy had a cup of coffee somewhere, it's a revenge game. And it's like, well, okay.
This might be more of one than a lot of them that are called that. We're just tired of it. But he actually had a really good season and they said, nah, see ya, bruh. And now he's playing against him. So if any of them might actually be one, this one would be one, but I'm so sick of the narrative, I'm barely even care to bring it up.
1000% with you, Phil. You nailed that one on the head right there. So yeah, I'd love to see them actually go out there and commit to running the football. Against the Titans, I really like the game on the perimeter and what they were able to do there. And I think you could probably exploit some of that, because you look at the interior of the Minnesota Vikings line, and we're talking Jonathan Allen and Hargrave and, some big beefy daddies down there. And, although Zabel was back last week, you can imagine he's probably not 100% still. I mean, that's going to be something he's going to work through here for a little while, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And, we're still working with Olu up front, which, maybe that is an upgrade in the run game overall, but those are tough players to run the football against, and I like Cashman and Wilson at the linebacker position. And so it could be tough sledding inside. So I'm guessing maybe more of the success comes to the outside. And if that's the case, then that means a K9 kind of day, which makes my day, of course, right there. But I do think that it's foolhardy to look at some of the defensive numbers for this Minnesota Vikings team and think of them as being a lesser defense than maybe before, because of what I talked about earlier.
Yeah, turnovers.
They refuse to run the football. It's not that they can't. They refuse to run the football, and how that cascades down all the way to your defense when you're off the field a bunch as offense and your defense is always out there. This is still an aggressive defense. And to Clinton's point, maybe the high variance plays, you haven't seen as much consistency in terms of turning the ball over, but those high variance situations are still going to pop up and you can still end up with turnovers. And especially with a QB that gets a little pressure and tends to turn the ball over against a guy in B-Flow who he likes to send dudes and heat you up. So that's probably the most interesting matchup in this entire game to me.
Yeah, I agree. Adam, we have 3 left. The top 3 were all taken. So we have 3 left. Most popular, most needed choices at your Thanksgiving feast.
Yeah. So, and this is for America's choice, because I know what my choice would be next, but this is one that seems to pop up on a lot of lists. And I'm just like, just why? You turn this into juice and that's all you do. And you have to mix it with other juice. So I'm going with cranberry sauce.
Cranberry was 7 or 8, Adam. You get your first X. I like cranberry.
Dang.
But
survey says 0.
So you got an X, your first X of the match. Adam, what's your next choice?
Okay. Well, also going back to Coach Mike's presser, he landed on something that is 1,000% correct and 0% wrong. It is pecan pie, not pecan, or how else do they say it? Pecan
or pecan?
As if you have to have your pinky out while you eat your pecan pie. It's so luscious. So in honor of When Harry Met Sally, it's pecan pie.
Okay. So there was pie or rolls were both number 6, depending on the 2 lists that I looked at. So I'll give it.
Okay.
All right. He's in.
And rolls, I'm like, rolls over pie? What?
Also, rolls over biscuits? It's got to be a biscuit, not just a roll, but that's fine.
Okay.
Where do you live, Clinton? I thought you lived in the Northeast. I didn't think you lived in mid-Mississippi where you need some biscuits.
Wait,
you like your biscuits?
Yes, yes. The best part of the meal.
I love dry biscuits.
I'd never heard anybody say pecan pie until I went to college. I'd only ever heard pecan my whole life. And I grew up in
wow. You must have grew up in a pretty affluent neighborhood, Phil.
Southwest Washington. No, it's middle of the road.
With all the rich kids, out there in Southwest Washington.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I can't remember where we're at. Oh, yeah, we're on the pie and rolls.
Pie.
Okay, the Vikings offense is 32nd in turnovers. They're the one team that is worse, the one offense that's worse at turning the ball over than us.
Yikes.
The Hawks D is pretty average in causing them. They're pretty decent at causing them as well. Why are they the only team that's worse than turnovers than us? And who really has the advantage in this matchup, Adam, with 2 offenses turning it over so much?
Boy, this is interesting because it does kind of come down to quarterback play with the idea of the Vikings just not liking to hand the ball off. And then, there's been a lot of games where we've looked at Kubiak and been like, could you hand the ball off a little more? I mean, you're doing a lot better than KOC, but
we hand it off
please.
as much. Like hardly nobody hands it off more than us.
Right. So, but I want it more is more, and it would be better. But with that said, it probably comes down to quarterbacks. And like we mentioned earlier, we're seeing some of the turnover prone plays that Darnold brings to the table. But we're also playing an undrafted free agent rookie in a massive game right out of the gate. So I think probably the advantage goes to the Seahawks here, even though I know the numbers aren't massively different between the 2 defenses and towards the bottom. But playmakers everywhere, simulated pressures, muddy the picture for a young guy. And especially if they put the rock in his hands quite a bit as the Seahawks start to build a lead.
Yeah.
Woo, that's when it gets scary. And I could see 3 bros-headed interceptions here.
Okay. And Clinton, I've got one that's like top of my mind, but I don't want to take it away in case that's yours. But if you don't, there's one that I'm thinking is a key point to this matchup with 2 teams that love to turn the ball over or probably hate to do it, but they're so good at it. Clinton, who has the advantage here in this?
Advantage, I think it's advantage Seahawks for what Adam said, because that's where the logic goes. The fact is, though, that Sam is still throwing those YOLO balls, right?
Yeah.
He was a couple more last game, and I don't think he's just going to stop throwing some of those. Now, was just on doing 3 and 3 out. We talked about the one that he tries to force in the Barner, but I'm not mad at that one because Barner's open. And I've seen him put balls inside little mailbox windows all year long.
Yeah.
But the one down the right-hand side where, taking a sack is not the end of the world, that one's very, very offensive. So it looks to be at this point that once or twice a game, Sam's going to throw one of those. And you got to clutch your pearls a bit and be like, I hope he drops it, or I hope it doesn't bounce in the air and go the wrong way, because by its definition, it's pretty high variance. With that, there's one other little area too. The Seahawks also fumble the ball a lot, right? And that doesn't, not just Sam, like random fumble by Arroyo or even Shaheed on the kickoff. We got one back. We've been a little sloppy. So just, so clean all that up. With all that said, I think it's still got to be advantage us, because the Vikings offensive line has been bad and dinged, and now they're injured. So when you combine coming to Seattle on a holiday week, which these players have lives too, right? So they got to go home, fly out late, all those things. They're out of regular routine. A rookie starting at Lumen. And then you got players that are like, we put 42 pressures on Cam Ward, and Brosmer might have nice legs, but I'm not sure he has a scramble ability or playmaking ability on the run that Cam demonstrated. I think all those things add up to advantage us in terms of propensity for turnovers on Sunday, Phil.
Yeah, and this is a topic of huge leverage that I think some of these things are getting missed. For one, this is an advantage for us that both teams turn it over for this fact. We can win by losing the turnover match just fine against this team. I see the Vikings having no shot against us unless they win the turnover match. So in this particular matchup, we have a better defense, better players to make up for turnover issue. The other thing is not all turnovers are the same, and everybody needs to recognize that. I'm all about a risky ball on third down. People they talk about how awesome it is these days. You want to go for it on fourth down all the time. And I'm with them, because you can see the advantages. Why not keep the ball when you can? But then what happens if you don't get it? Well, so what? You gave the ball back. Now you play defense. How about if you throw the ball deep and it turns out it was a turnover and it was third down? Why not take some risk there? What you can't do is risk it when you're up against your own end zone. What you can't do is risk it on first and second down throws. That's where you want to know this throw is going to be good before you make it, or you've already got a field goal in the pocket and you're that close to scoring, and then you just throw the ball randomly to where they can take it. So not all turnovers have the same impact on the game. And if we can just get better at deciding when to risk, because I don't want Sam to stop taking risks, because JSN usually wins it when we risk it to JSN. I just would like him to recognize when it's not worth it. Does that make any kind of sense, Adam?
Well, it makes a ton of sense to me. It's something we talked about on the flagship in why I was so upset with the 4 turnover game for Sam was it's situational football. And you're talking about all the different spots on the field in terms of like not down in your own end. If it's at first or second down, like quit taking risks you don't need to take. Arm punts are okay. Like they're not the end of the world. Especially if you can kind of push it down the field there a little bit. But it was even a more overarching theme for the team in the game where he throws 4 picks, because look, man, it's a tight game. You don't need to be taking those risks. Like just eat it, be smart about it. Do what Stafford was doing that game. He recognized early that like, hey, this is a defensive battle, and least amount of mistakes wins here. So there's a situational awareness of like, and it was something that we got on Gino about quite a bit through the 3 years he was here, was like risk management, buddy. Like when are we taking those and when are we not? You don't want to take it out of his game, but you also want to be like, hey, be aware of situation as we're going forward here, Clinton.
It's like, if we have the lead, don't do something dumb. And then Hasselbeck says picks are bad, fumbles are worse. Picks are down the field, fumbles
in general. Yeah.
Yeah. And quarterbacks don't get dinged as bad for them, but they're worse for your deal.
I got one more quick point, and I hope it doesn't step on a different question. I don't think it will, but it does fit this quite nicely. Is that like, Flores, it's like the tiger stripe, thing, right? Where it's like, okay, you're not going to change the tiger stripes. Flores is going to blitz. That's what he's going to do. One of the best ways, and something we see is getting a little warmed up for us, is our screen game. And why I bring that up is simply because it's also low risk by its nature.
Supposedly,
Is
yeah.
it?
Well,
With this
supposedly.
team?
well,
Gosh, I've got screen PTSD, Clinton. I do.
but I'm talking about turnovers,
Yeah.
I
right?
know. Yeah.
Low risk in the turnover capacity. And when you time a screen the right way, which we saw 30-yard screens of Walker go off swimmingly against the Titans. And then, Walker's starting to get more touches. But it's also a nice way where it's like, okay, if we're saying Sam throws the ball 24, 26 times, and all of a sudden 3, 4, 5 of those are very, very in the pocket, short area things that are super low risk, just another way to tick down that propensity for a turnover, Phil. Plus, you might get an explosive.
And you watch Kyle and CMC do it over and over, and they're just so awesome at it. I think it just has to do sometimes with the guys you got. I think JSN's good at it, by the way. That's not the best use of him.
I don't know, man. I'm convinced it's in the water out there near the Puget Sound. Like, there's something out there that makes it so just like successful screens, not a thing for us. It just feels like that's the way it goes. I don't know.
It's not that far from San Francisco where they're like the best at it. I don't know what the deal is. Clinton, two options left. Here's where it gets tough. I hope I didn't just show my paper to the screen. No, I didn't.
No, I didn't see it. I was rubbing my eyes. Not my favorite, but I think America would say different. The green bean casserole is probably on this plate, man.
Well, you got an X. First X for Clinton. You guys are both happy that the X's are on there. You picked something you didn't like. Go with America. Go with something that not only you like.
Lock and loaded. I hope Clinton leaves it for me here. We'll see.
Everybody likes. There's
I
two
thought
left.
I thought for sure that garbage dish was going to be on there. So now I'm a little scrambly. What else is good? I mean, there's got to be, can I just say some form of corn? Corn's got to be available on Thanksgiving, yes?
That's a 7 or 8 one as well. Corn.
Yikes.
Yeah, you're missing a couple
That's how
easy
this
ones.
goes, right?
What's that?
I got to guess again. That's how this goes, right?
Yeah. Let's see who gets the most X's by the end, but you don't get to get off the hook when you're
leaving?
wrong.
What am I leaving on the board? It's probably something pretty obvious.
Super obvious.
Yes, that's really obvious.
Like number 3 obvious.
Okay. Well, there's going to be a mac and cheese, right?
No, that's a niche thing as well.
That's your pasta.
You need to move to Mississippi, bud. Have your mac and cheese and baskets for Thanksgiving here. Yeah,
man, there's a lot of dishes though. You're right. You're getting into your bottom 6 area. I'll give you that.
Okay. All right. Well, mac and cheese is delicious at least. So if it went down, I went down swinging. I'm fine with it.
Yep, it's not on there. Give me another one. You got 3 X's. We're just gonna.
No. I think I'm done. Let's just go.
You want me just to give you the answer?
Yes. After 3 X's, I'm out.
Okay. Don't take my answer though. Can I guess for him?
You can guess for. We'll let Adam guess for you.
Okay. The mashed potatoes.
Smashed potatoes is 3 or 4 on every list.
Yeah.
Everybody listening to the pod's gonna know that you should have said mashed potatoes.
Yes. I should have said that was dumb. Yes,
Well,
potato.
It's funny when you hang out with Clinton a lot, like occasionally he'll be ordering dinner and he wants mashed potatoes and he says mac and cheese and but he means mashed potatoes. That's what he means by that. Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Mashed potatoes it's on every one of them.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't know how I forgot that.
It's got to go with the gravy, right?
Yeah. And you're
Of
leading
course.
into the next question, though. You were talking about pass rush. You guys talked a little bit about some blitz. Vikings are 7th in sacks, but they're 26th against the wide receiver 1 by DVOA. What if Darnold does have less time in moments? Is it still worth it for Clint keeping to look for explosives? Should we try to be more careful, or should we still look for those explosives, given the fact that, hey, we might get sacked and lose a fumble, but also if we go, there's a big chance that our wide receiver 1 can make a big explosive because they do give those up. Well, where do you think we should kind of risk manage that, Clint?
I don't think we should. Meaning JSN's having a special year.
Okay.
By every measure. And his efficiency is off the charts. He doesn't get the Calvin Johnson style targets. We don't need to. We're also, as of last week, going into last week, we were 31st in pass attempts. Global, that was it. The 31st out of 32.
Look what that does. You can have a great passing offense without tons of attempts.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
What?
I know, right? So, and we run the ball percentage-wise the most in the NFL. And yet we're still like, hey, run the ball a little bit more because it could be successful. With all that said, no, it's not as simple as it ain't broke, don't fix it. It is more the fabric of this team is under center play action, and while you're establishing the run so that the play action does its thing and works. You turn your back, you do the longer developing plays, and you take your shots, because they've been keep doing that until a team stops it. And I don't see the Vikings with the type of team that could derail the JSN, the Sam the JSN show. So in short, Phil, no, you keep doing it specifically. Really go back, make sure you're under center. We saw a lot of shotgun last game too, Adam. They're live.
Mm-hmm.
Not like the game before against the Rams, but still, for my liking, a little too much shotgun. But get under center, run your play action, you do you, and trust it. That's all.
Adam, they're 26th against wide receiver ones by DVOA. Any idea who's number one with wide receiver ones by DVOA?
I think his name is probably Tariq Woolen. Not even a team, like a player. Like one dude.
I'm sorry, which offense? Any idea which offense is number one by DVOA with their wide receiver one?
I mean, when you ask the question like that, I'm going to guess it's an acronym that starts with JSN.
Yeah, it's Seattle. Seattle's number one by a mile on wide receiver one targeting, but yes, by DVOA. Adam, what do you think we should do? Should we just keep sticking with what we're doing? Should we be this pass rush that's kind of wild and very blitz happy, a little bit crazy? Should we be risk averse? How do you think Clint should go in strategizing for this one?
Well, you asked about explosives, and so I actually disagree with Clinton here a little bit. Number one, run the ball. Do that. We're going to need to stick with that part of the plan. But in terms of the passing game, I don't think that I'm going to lean super heavy into play action this particular game, because how do you beat the blitz? You beat the blitz by getting the ball out of your hand quickly and replacing the blitz with a quick option to whether that's a hot or something that you audible to. And those are the answers that Kubiak is going to have. And I imagine that he's going to find a couple B-flow tendencies here and there. And so whether that's under center or out of the gun, I would, of course, rather see it under center, because I think you still get a little bit of the benefits of what you get out of play action being under center. So quick 3-step drops with 2 answers for about any blitz that Sam is going to see. And that's not being conservative either. That's not saying, hey, look, we're not going to hunt for explosives, because when defenses are blitz happy, when you beat the blitz, those turn into explosives. And you've got somebody like JSN who's a yak monster after catch. I actually think that this could be a massive Shaheed game. Like, get him on a couple little quick hitches, or, just little quick in cuts.
There's a screen where
he's a screen guy where you get the ball out of your hand quick, replace the blitz with Shaheed, and then let him use his speed and just take the top off the defense. That's the way that I would go about it. And that sounds conservative, but against that sort of defense, I think you could end up with a lot of explosives out of it.
Can it be done where you have 2 choices? Like, you think it's a blitz and we've got a hot, and it says, hey, if my running back doesn't pick this up or we don't handle the blitz right, I'm going hot. But if we do, now I know there's no safety. Now I can launch it to JSN one-on-one and watch him beat his guy. Can you have plays that are similar to that at all, where there's a hot?
I would imagine there's layers to the play call, right? You're usually attacking a couple layers of the field. The question becomes, are you able to hold up long enough in pass pro to be able to push the ball down the field? And so I wouldn't expect a crap ton of deep balls in this game from Sam Darnold. I'm expecting a lot of, 15 yards and down. That's what I would be looking for as an OC, I think.
It's more like Sam knows the blitz is coming. We might get it, we might not. But if we don't handle it, I've got this hot route. If we do handle it, now JSN's one-on-one and this is gone.
Right. And hit your back foot. And if JSN's open, then fine. Then start going through your reads and make it happen from there. And don't try to play outside of yourself. The big thing for Sam in this game is you're going to get blitzed a little bit more than usual, but you have to be able to keep your clock at the same pace. Don't let that hurry you up on the plays where they, disguise blitz and then don't bring it. Like, still stay within your rhythm and, kind of keep your head.
Good. Adam, you've already won the Family Feud because it's like 3X's to 1. You want to try to guess the final one, or should I just read it?
Just read it.
Okay. It is sweet potato yams. That's number 4.
That would have been my guess.
Oh, would it have really? You said you could have proved your dominance on Thanksgiving knowledge in America.
I know. I checked it down.
You already checked it out. Okay, last question. What if we talk about tight ends? We did not really. Both teams are very poor. If there's one area that both teams are poor on defense, it's against tight ends. Now, it does have to do with the fact that we faced Trey twice already this year, so that kind of poisons our numbers a little bit. But both teams are kind of bad against them. They're statistically very poor. How do you think this might impact the game, our defenses having this weak spot versus tight ends?
That is interesting. I mean, it does kind of play into the idea that if you are getting blitzed, you have the bigger body guys that can just run a quick spot route, turn around, body a guy up, and you just zip the ball in there for 4 yards. So maybe that's the advantage there, Clinton. I imagine that because I think you're the number one AJ Barner cheerleader on this show. So I want to hear all about how AJ Barner wins this game with just his right hand. He just ties his left hand behind his back and just crushes it.
I am definitely the truther. I'll go to the other side first, though, because I think Seattle ends up kind of getting punished by, meaning like the way the stats look, that we are a certain way against tight ends because we are so effective against wideouts. I think so. It's kind of the default, like what if you have to give up something on defense, and usually you got to give up something.
Yeah.
Tight ends leaking, or tight ends against the linebacker where there's still a bit of a mismatch versus your number one versus Woolen or Spoon or Job or even Wari. I think that's actually why we end up seeing that we're quote unquote worse against tight ends. The ball goes there more because other dudes aren't open.
And we faced the best one in the league twice already.
Right. So there's
plus
that.
George Kittle once, right? So like 2 out of the top 3 best tight ends. Yeah,
played like 10 minutes, right? But
he's good. But yes. So with all that, I think that's more of where that actually ends up being against Seattle. For AJ Barner, it's like look no further than the Rams game. That is what you were saying is turn around, let the ball hit you in the chest. He's not. In that game, he's not stretching the field. And you look back at his line, you go, oh, I think he had 10 catches for 70 or 77 for, I think it was 10 catches for
10 catches for something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Frankly, too many for AJ Barner. A little overloaded, but kind of exactly what I just said about the Seahawks. The Rams took away certain things. And what was open was these little dump offs. So if Hawkinson's eating a little bit on Thanksgiving, but Naylor and Addison and JJ are just kind of pedestrian, I think it's a sign all day, Phil. Sign away on that. Where I'd love to see us another click better than just turn around and get the ball in your gut would be where we saw some success with Arroyo in the seam. It's been very sporadic success, but can we get another seam shot to Arroyo where you see why we took him 50th overall? Because he's 30 yards downfield being hit in stride because he blew past an NFL linebacker and the safeties over the top on JSN instead with that true mismatch stuff. That'd be cool. Not holding my breath on that, but I sure would like to see it, Phil.
Sounds good. Well, we got to move to our wishes. Last week, you guys wished for Shaheed to have a big game at him. Still haven't got that. Nwosu sack. Clinton. Nwosu sack. Oh, you guys got the wishes onto the screen.
I did. I snagged them, but
I thought I was going to have to read from my phone out here in Linwood, but I guess I can just read them right there. But I guess our wishes didn't quite happen. Nwosu had a decent game. Shaheed, we're still waiting for the big one.
Yep.
Josh DeHuman, here's from our flock. You can get in the flock. Go by going to getintheflock.com, and you shows you what you can donate for, how you can be involved. The Discord's a great place. We get a lot of good information. We help keep each other aware of things that are going on, and we have a good time in there. So I don't know if I missed anything about that, Adam, that the people need to know as far as getting in the flock.
No, but your cheeks will hurt when you get into the Discord because you'll be smiling the whole time. It's a great time.
Okay, it is a nice time. All right, now let's put that back up there. I'll see if I can read it. Josh DeHuman, he wished Darnold has multiple touchdowns, no turnovers in his. Okay, there's the revenge. Josh wants revenge. I'm fine if Sam gets revenge, Josh. Good wish. We had 2 people agree. Bunny, I'd like to see E-Man have a baller game and get the national media buzzing. Who is this guy? I don't care which way he balls out, interceptions, PBUs, whatever. Just do enough of it that people take notice of how awesome he's been the last few weeks. Good, Bunny. JSN, Jiggy with it. Justin Jefferson comes running to our locker room and yells, "Come get me!" After we smash them. a little bit of our
Was
former
that
wife.
Dez?
Was that?
That was E.T. It was Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He did that to the Cowboys. That's right.
Thomas did that, and then we had our receiver was saying that. I can't remember. Branch was saying that after he scored when we had such a horrible season one time. Okay.
Who?
Yeah, Deion Branch. Okay. Still hurts. This day, Catfish U, E.T., she says, Car, 100 yards rushing for K9. Don't know if the Vikings are the best team for it to happen against, but I'm hopeful with the extra carries from last week. I think there's a good chance. I think if we can get a lead, start just hammering the rock, I think there's a good chance. Yoka Hawk, 400 plus total yards of offense with 25 or fewer pass attempts. Okay, I kind of like that's going to be something. And really, that's maybe doable. This is a medium defense. This isn't the bad defense we played. This is a medium defense, but still, if we get it rolling. Oots gets a pancake is his other one. Why not? I'm kind of up. Oots is kind of up and down. He's kind of having a rookie season. Some really cool plays, some bummer plays. It'd be nice to see him get himself a pancake in this one. Anything stand out to you on these, Clinton?
Yeah, it's got to be K9, right? Because I think K9 is warming at the right time of year. Look, we keep asking him to be RB1, and he sure feels like it. And maybe at the end of all of this, as we get into, playoff charge mode, maybe the patience is a virtue thing will really be there for all Seahawks fans, that just keeping him warm enough. And then we get into a game in like late December, early Jan, and we see a 22 touch game when it really matters. Holding out hope we see that. So it doesn't have to be Sunday, but I'm holding out hope that it's like, it's in reserve. He's healthy as we hit a game or a game to decide a division or a playoff game. We actually do throttle him like a cowbell, bell cow. And
more cowbell.
Yeah. More K9, more cowbell. Why not? Let's get that 100 yards from K9 and just keep seeing that ramp into the playoff end of the season quarter.
I mean, he can do it with 14 carries too. Give me an explosive or two, and he could definitely get 100 with 14 carries as well. Adam, any of these jump out to you before we get to y'all's wishes?
Oh, I love Yokai Hawks here with Utsa getting a pancake. I want to see a little more fullback. I want to see a little more smash mouth football, because if they are trying to run blitzy and all that, and you've got a fullback that can take that and just shove it right back down their throat, then those turn into explosive runs, and you could have that 400-yard total offense production day without throwing the ball all that much, and that would be just a joy to watch. Is that likely? Not really, but I can't wait to see it. Let's go.
All right, Clinton, we're going to get your prediction. Adam won the Family Feud today, which means he gets the recognition of winning. However, you won the prediction last week by saying we'd win by 17. Adam said we'd win by 25. Of course, game was much closer on the scoreboard than we might have anticipated. We still big brothered them. Just we didn't rub their face in it like a lot of us thought we might. So you won, Clinton. You're up another win from last week. What's your prediction?
Okay, prediction. So you want game prediction, right? First?
Yes, game prediction.
Okay.
And then we'll do the I should have done the wish first like I normally do, but I'm so confused because I'm out here in Linwood on the other side of the state.
Don't even sweat it. No big deal. And I don't think our Seahawks are going to sweat this one too much either. It feels similar to last week, and the Brosmer thing is such a wild card. I don't know how to place that. Let's go with the nice, easy squeezy 27-13 Seahawks.
Okay.
A pretty low key W where we just rack up another one and say, okay, let's get ready for some different competition.
So non-Washington, non-Minnesota Viking fans are going to find this game kind of boring. We're going to enjoy an easy ride to a victory, Clinton, 27-13. How about you, Adam?
Well, let us hope it's that, an easy ride to victory. But this team tends to kind of let teams come back in and score some garbage time stuff, and that's been crushing me with some of my predictions. So I'm going to go 30-21 here. And the Brosmer is going to do a couple things at the end of the game that's going to get everybody all excited and create even more controversy around the JJ versus Brosmer situation. And that's going to be interesting to listen to over the next few weeks here. But just simmer down, Minnesota fan. Like, it's going to be okay. Just give JJ some time. I know it's looked awful. I know it's looked awful. But for real, we've all learned our lesson about these quarterbacks and what it takes and how long it takes. Let him take his lumps. I know that's a bummer for your veterans like JJ and all those guys, and hopefully you can keep them on board while you go through the growing pains. But I promise you the upside of JJ McCarthy is more than Brosmer when it's all said and
You
done.
think so? Yeah, that's going to hurt my feelings if they score 21 and none of them are special teams. Of course, another special teams touchdown would hurt my feelings as well. So I don't want him getting to 21, Adam. You're right. Clinton, who's your what if Superhawk for this matchup?
So it was really fun to watch this player live, and he bullied tackles all day long. He actually got his first sack. We're talking about the Minotaur, Derek Hall. Where the parallel of talking about maybe K9s, you know, being kept in a little bit of reserve until it really matters. I'm really hoping for a Derek Hall kind of late season push when it comes to the splashy stuff, because he does nothing but make plays on the edge and get pressure.
Yeah.
He's in the backfield always. He just hasn't had the glory stats this year so far yet. I think maybe the run begins for Derek Hall as we get ready for a playoff run here, Mr. Phil. Let's get Derek Hall with at least another full sack on the day. And he just starts to percolate a little bit where the NFL is like, oh my gosh, we got to worry about that guy now too. Forgotten man, but he should not be forgotten much longer.
Love it. D Hall, big sack as you make us jealous with the beautiful weather and palm trees behind you, Clinton, you rascal. Adam, what's your what if Superhawk for this matchup?
I'm not jealous of the palm trees to start with, because like right now I can see in the background of the screen, there's a snake right there. There's a snake over there. There's one up there, and they're all plotting to kill you right now. Clinton, you be careful out there, dude. Those slithery bastards, you just be careful. Like, they are scary. But it's funny. Clinton and I are actually fairly like-minded here in terms of our Superhawk, because I was choosing his young running mate. I was going to go with Boye Mafe, a guy who's been out there being a productive player, playing with a lot of energy. In, you know, the football gods, it all comes full circle. They do reward people for doing the right thing, keeping your head down, not making noise, taking your opportunities and making the most of them. And that's been Boye Mafe. So I'm going Boye Mafe, 2 sacks here, and Brosmer being like, oh my God, who is this Boye guy? Because wasn't Boye out of Minnesota too?
Yes, he was a gopher also.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have some gopher on gopher vengeance here. That's what's happening.
You're both getting your wish. Let's get 2 sacks for Boye, 1 for Hall.
We found the true revenge game. Sorry to cut you off, Mr. Phil, but that's the true revenge game. Gopher on gopher crime for the win. Boy, I love it.
I think that's the best thing to
little
expect.
known fact, but those little gophers, they're cannibals, man. Like, if you go out and shoot gophers, like the live ones will go and eat the dead ones. Like, they're nasty little guys. So that's what's going to happen here. I see Boye feasting on some bro.
And some gopher too. Apparently Adam's next thing he was going to pick for the Thanksgiving feast was gopher.
I'm not sure.
No.
You weren't?
little gopher meat. I've made it weird.
But I'm just kind of wondering.
If we can't have 10 sacks, because a guy that hasn't played NFL football coming against this team, that's where you feast, right? I mean, if there's one thing you expect a new dude to do, it's to really struggle with NFL pass rush. It's just not the same as college pass rush.
Yeah, for sure, Phil. So again, we're doing this on a beautiful Wednesday morning for me.
Beautiful.
You're all gonna watch. Yeah, you're all gonna watch this after Thanksgiving, I'd imagine, or on Thanksgiving. So we want to wish everybody celebrating have an awesome and feastful Thanksgiving and a thankful day for sure. But boys, I'm just ready for Sunday to be a day where we can be grateful to watch this defense. Phil, just do what you just said and alluded to. Watch a professional, veteran-led defense with studs everywhere go just pick apart a dude who's never played an NFL regular season snap. I like our ability to feast on that, guys.
Yes, that's the piece that we won. That's the leftovers I'm looking forward to after Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. That's going to be a lot of fun. And, Thanksgiving, can't tell you all how thankful we are for each and one of you little flockers.
Yes.
I hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving. We're going to be celebrating with a dub. This is a glorious holiday weekend, boys. This is one of the first ones that I haven't been out grinding wheels in
Ooh.
almost like a decade. I mean, that was the one crazy part about that job, is that you're always working weekends and holidays. And so going to be really enjoyable to sit down and just enjoy a regular Thanksgiving like regular people.
Yes. And Adam, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful I found your show one day. And Clinton, I'm very thankful for you and all you invest in our show. We're, of course, thankful for Brandon and everything that he brings to the Seahawkers podcast. And we're extremely thankful for all of you that listen to this entire show, where we're in different locations, but having a good time as friends, talking about our favorite team. We're looking forward to all of it this week as we feast on some Vikings. Clinton, what if we say,
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks?
Go Hawks.